purpose. Hello YouTube, I'm David with the David West channel. Well, I want to tell you about the car repairs I've been doing ever since I retired. I retired and got my first check in March, and the Camry needed all kinds of work. I could not afford to do work down through the years on the Camry, but boy, I'm catching up and I'm making up for it now. So in March, I went ahead, and I think I had stimulus money at the time too. I went ahead and bought 4 new tires. I used the Tiger Paw tires made by Uniroll. Been running those for years and years and years. Then, Thanksgiving morning, I was sitting at the McDonald's in the parking lot, drinking the coffee and eating my Egg McMuffin. All of a sudden, steam just started boiling up out of the front and out from under the fender wells. I got out, and my radiator had busted. So I had the car towed into the shop, and I decided this would be a good time to go ahead and get a bunch of work done. So we got a radiator and, of course, flush the coolant system. Let's go out there and take a look at the motor. So here's the new radiator. And while I had it in the shop, we went ahead and put in the new struts. And I put in 2 CV axle joints, and the stabilizer bars were worn out. Those need to be replaced. I guess that's the EGR. They went to take that EGR apart to clean it, and it just collapsed. It just crumbled, and some of it fell back into the engine. They took and had to vacuum it out. The coil wires, the spark plug wires, when they went to take those off, those just broke off in his hand. He said, he commented to my grandson. Now, my grandson works at the dealership. That's why I could get all of this work done, parts and labor, for just $1,500. That includes the $60 for the towing. He said, some of this stuff should have been changed 5 times already. And here it is being changed for the first time. So, and man, I had valve cover gaskets put on too. 2 valve cover gaskets, and there was other work, I just can't remember it. So it is in great shape. I had forgotten how much power that this 6-cylinder has. This is an 01 Camry. I bought it brand new, and it has 340,000 miles on it, and man, it is running great again. So let's go ahead and get our walk in, see if we can find something to make a video about today. Here's some more of those good bearing blocks. Those black walnuts. Well, that's good eating if you want to do that much work to extract the nut meat out of those. Where is that squirrel at? I hear him. Where's he at? Backside of that black walnut tree. There he goes. There he is. Zoom. You must be a young squirrel. An older squirrel will be on the backside of that tree, just as quiet as can be. He's got some good eating though. Those black walnuts, and then that's a pecan tree back there. We'll leave him alone. There's a easy fire making video. Empty BIC ignites some cigarette butts. Everybody knows that I carry a Wallet Fresnel lens and a ferro rod and a BIC. So whenever I want to show my BIC for a fire maker, of course I'm not going to just, fire it up. I have to show worst case example, and that would be an empty BIC. So we'll empty BIC ignite these. I use the extra tobacco to make sure that the ember gets big enough to ignite the tinder. Let's see what else is up here. There's the cemetery. No shortage of cigarette butts in the world, is there? That ought to be enough. All right, I'm back to the house, and before we get started on these 4 cigarette butts that I found, we have a smoker in the house, and so I have access to all the cigarette butts that I want to experiment with. I have tried this before, and I was unable to get a cigarette butt to Flint and Steel ignite, but I want to try it again. I don't think you can get it to Flint and Steel ignite. Here's one that has not been traumatized, other than me knocking the ashes off of it. Let's try it. No, it's not going to work. Let's go ahead and get started with these 4 cigarette butts here. The 3 ways that I want to ignite it is to Empty BIC ignite it, to fire roll ignite it, and then used fire roll ignited with the Flint and Steel. Let's just go ahead and start off with the fire roll. When I don't have ashes on my board, I like to use the whole cotton ball. That way the top board won't flatten it out as readily, and the top board will be able to drive the fire roll easier. All right, I just failed on my first fire roll attempt. Let's try it again. This one here should have enough tobacco in it. I bet you we get ignition this time. We eventually got it, didn't we? There's some punk wood in there. I'll bring these 2 balls of tinder together with the fire roll in the middle. Like I say, when I get flames, then I'll go ahead and dump it back out and snuff it out with some more pine needles. When you hear the flames whipping around, I don't know if you can hear those flames. Give it some more waves when you hear the flames whipping around like that. Now, we'll snuff these out. And that's So as you can imagine, you can start one fire with it, take and snuff these out, and you could save both of those to start another fire, you know, a week later or a day later, whatever, because these will now flint and steel ignite. So you can imagine if you fire roll cigarette tobacco, get your fire, and then you're done with that camp, you can bring your 2 charred up used halves of the fire roll with you, hike all day long. Then when you get to your new camp, flint and steel ignite 1/2 of it, start another fire. And when you're done with that fire, say you're going to leave that camp and hike all day, you'll still have another good piece of char to start your next fire. These should be snuffed out. This one's not. I can feel the heat getting through to my hand. That half right there was really hot, but this one is out. Oh, that's still burning. You get the idea. Let's go ahead and bring this to flames. And this one I'm going to make some powder to set that ember down into, and then I want to cover it up with some powder too. And loosen it up so that the ember can spread. Stick it in here and put some powder on top of it. You hear those flames whipping around? Give it a few more waves after you hear the flames whipping around. All right, let me get my empty BIC and we'll go ahead and ignite. We'll go ahead and ignite these. And we'll take one of those and open it up and place the tobacco in the tinder bundle so we can get a bigger ember. Now, all right, we'll take this cigarette butt, stick it up close to that striker wheel. I smell smoke. Oh, it went out. Hold on. Let's try it again. Now, if you got a problem, put your mouth on somebody else's cigarette butt. You can cut half it off. You can break the whole filter off, pack the tobacco back up inside the paper, or you can just take and ignite it like I did and just keep on blowing on it, but you really have to blow on it a long time to make that ember spread. I've got no problem reusing this cigarette butt that I found, especially if I'm in an emergency situation where I have to have fire. Can you see the pile of tobacco under that cigarette? Hi, y'all. You can usually find something when you're out in a suburban area, when you're out in an urban area. You're going to find cigarette butts. A lot of times you'll find an empty BIC lighter. There's always something out there, you know, even if it's natural, you know, punk wood, and there's lots of ways to make fire if you know what to look for. All right, y'all. Appreciate you joining me on this one. We'll catch you on the next one.